Thanks for coming out and watching the oxymoronic Reddit Professional Show, where I showcase the best and worst of the internet. Here I comment on brilliant and hilarious comment chains regarding dumb shit on the internet for you to enjoy. Make sure to subscribe, hit the little bell button so that you get notifications every time we come up with a new video. Enjoy this week's show. Teachers of Reddit, what was the trashiest thing you've seen a parent do? Staff raised money to get an 8-year-old girl a winter coat. I live in rural Canada. Girl came to school the next day in a t-shirt in the dead of winter, her mom wearing the brand new child-sized jacket. Work at a school where over 80% of our population lives under the poverty line. I keep a cabinet full of hygiene products for kids to take. Deodorant, lotion, chapstick, hair gel, feminine hygiene products, shampoo, conditioner, those kinds of things in travel sizes. Being a teen is hard enough without having to cope with hygiene problems due to lack of funds at home. So one day, the entire thing is empty. Odd, I refill the cabinet, and 2 days later, all of it is gone again. Refill with the last of my supplies, catch the kid in the act of sweeping everything in his bag. I stop him, take him to the other room, and talk to him. He told his mother about the cabinet. She ordered him to bring her everything he could get. She was returning the items to Walmart for store credit to buy cigarettes and beer. I told him to tell her the cabinet is locked now. I bought a bike lock, so it was not a lie. It was sickening. Especially sad because it used to be anonymous, but now a student would need to approach and ask to unlock it for something they need and might be too embarrassed. Woman I used to babysit for worked in a school as an assistant or some crap in Toronto. She always told this story about how the class rabbit would go home with a new kid each weekend. They kept trying to avoid giving one kid the bunny for the weekend because it was clear his home life wasn't the best. But they finally caved and let him take the rabbit home. The parents killed the rabbit and ate it. They killed the class bunny and fried it up for dinner. They weren't even ashamed when they told the teacher what happened on Monday. Said they were out of groceries or something. I firmly believe that class pets should never go home with any student for any reason. I volunteer at an after-school program to help tutor. I had a student earlier this year, good kid, loves math, loves computers, wants to be a programmer when he grows up. He's really struggling in the 7th grade because he has no computer at home. We have to do his online assignments at the program, but we only meet twice a week. I pulled his mom aside and explained how he could be doing much better in school with some kind of PC and internet access at home. She says she can't afford a computer. I tell her that for $200 I could piece all the parts together myself for a fully functional setup that would be sufficient for at least the next few years. I'd even build it with him so he could learn some extremely valuable information. I'd even front her half, but she'd have to pay me back. She says no way, still out of her budget. Mind you, while we're having this conversation, she's barely looking up to speak to me, too busy scrolling through the gram on her iPhone X. I say frick it, I'll do it myself. Scrap together all the parts I can for free. I only had to buy an HDD. The setup was really out of date, but still worked. Gave it to them. Kid was thrilled. About a month later, I notice he's trying to finish all his homework at the program again. I ask his mom if everything's okay with the computer. She says it broke down. I say, okay, what happened? I'll pick it up and try to fix it. She says she had to throw it away. I pull the kid aside and ask him. He tells me she sold it to her cousin for $50. I don't really like calling people trashy when they're apparently stuck in a culture of poverty. Maybe she needed that $50 for the light bill or groceries. But at the same time, she spends 3 times that amount on her cell phone each month, so it really just broke my heart. It was like she's doing everything in her power to ensure the kid has no frickin' chance at a decent life. I called a parent about a behavior issue. I must have been on speakerphone because I heard the kid come home. Parents start screaming at and wailing on the kid, cussing, calling them all sorts of names. I don't even know if the parent remembered I was on the phone. I hung up the phone and went to my principal. Teachers are mandated reporters. Don't hit your kids in front of a teacher. I honestly wish I had a teacher like you. I was abused my entire life by my parents and was even slapped by my father when I was younger in front of a teacher, and they didn't care. I also remember telling 2 different teachers about me being abused, and they didn't listen or care, which all made me believe what I was going through was normal. I work in a school in one of the most socially deprived areas of the UK. At Parents' Evening, we give every parent a printout of their child's grades in each subject alongside their target grades. Last year, we had the parent of an 11-year-old respond to this printout by shouting, "What the frick am I going to do with this? I can't frickin' read, can I?" This was in front of other children, parents, and her child's teachers. Well, in my profession, it's more often what the parents don't do that wins them the Parent of the Year award. But I do have a couple of Hall of Famers. I'm a special education teacher, so I deal with kids of all kinds of physical, emotional, and academic disabilities.
I took care of a little girl once who had a number of complications due to spina bifida. Her mother couldn't be bothered to take care of her. The little girl wore diapers and was cathed. She required 3 to 5 diaper changes a day. Mom would only send 5 diapers a week. The thing is, she was getting full services from her community, so she was being provided with plenty of supplies. We suspect Mom was probably selling the extras. I ended up just buying her diapers. Mom would not change her catheter regularly. We would change her out at school, but other than that, she'd go another 24 hours before a change-out. Longer if it was a weekend. The smell from the infections she'd get after a weekend was horrendous. She had lice constantly and oozing bedbug sores. Mom told us to F off when we'd call and tell her to take her to a doctor. Found out later in the year that she also had scabies. We offered to administer the medications and creams at school. Mom told us to go to heck. Girl would come to school in men's underwear, XXL shirts, and size 16 pants. She was 8. Finally discovered that her 9-year-old sister was changing her diapers and dressing her every day, and sister couldn't find any other cleanish clothes to put on her. Mom's response, "I'm busy. I have to get to work in the mornings." Final straw was when the nurse discovered what appeared to be STD warts while changing her diaper one day. Nurse made for the 10th time another CPS report, but principal insisted we call home and report our findings. Grandma found out, tipped off Mom, and Mom appeared at the school 15 minutes later, snatched up the kids, and disappeared. Investigators showed up 15 minutes later, but Mom was already long gone. Never saw the kids again. Your principal is a complete dimwit. The cafeteria, which is used for parent meetings, has tables with fixed bench seating. You have to swing a leg over to sit down. Parent wore a short skirt and was commando. She also got up several times. It's funny that you wrote parent, not mom. Now I have to imagine a dad in a short skirt. I'm a high school teacher. One time a parent of a child who had been going back and forth with another child on social media came to the school to confront the other girl. The mom ended up bursting into my classroom to try and fight one of my 9th grade girls, sending us into a lockdown until the woman was removed by the police. My mom is a middle school teacher. Just about every day, some crap parent doesn't come pick up their kids because they literally forgot about them or were passed out, drunk, or on drugs. Then the poor child gets sent to daycare, which is not free. Then the crap parents complain about the charge. My mom has had to bring random kids home before who barely knew the way home. It's really sad. I am a teacher. We're not allowed to put kids in our cars and take them home. There are legal reasons at play there, but I often wonder how many parents would take advantage of us and have us driving their kids home all the time. Mother came to a school sports day swigging from a bottle of wine. We always felt desperately sorry for her daughter because whenever she returned to school following a holiday at home, this was a boarding school, we had to wash all her clothes because they reeked of cigarettes, and this poor little girl was easily the most unhappy child I'd ever seen. Sounds like boarding school was the right path for her. My cousin is a teacher, and she once had a parent come to a parent-teacher conference extremely drunk, and right before the meeting, tried to pull out a bag of drugs and start doing lines. Police were called, and so was CPS. The school also had to call 911 once because a parent overdosed in the parking lot while waiting to pick up their kid, and the poor kid was too young to understand why their mom was slumped over in their car. Jesus, that's rough. As a teacher, I can't imagine having to explain that to one of my kids. Your cousin is doing good work. Wreck their car buying drugs on the way to pick up their child from preschool, and then try to get another parent to cover for them with their estranged husband. Drugs. Only after preschool. Mom used to be a teacher, and this happened to someone she worked with. Child was strangling another child. Teacher wasn't strong enough to pull the child off the other child, so ended up having to thump the child until he released. Child ended up rather bruised. Parents of the child doing the strangling decided they wanted to try and sue the teacher for hitting their child. Result? Teacher who prevented their son from murdering someone suspended from work until the case gets rejected from court. This one was pretty funny. A parent brought out a pack of sweets or something and asked her son, "Can I have some?" To which the mother responded, "Where's your fricking manners? How about fricking please?" I facepalmed so hard. Nice moment of humor in an otherwise depressing thread. My mom's story. A girl and her parents were being interviewed before starting high school. The primary school this girl went to notified the high school that the girl was autistic. When my mom tried to discuss how they can best cater to the girl's needs, the parents interrupted. The parents sent the kid out of the room. Say to my mom, "She's not autistic anymore, she grew out of it." The girl is clearly autistic and the school was trying to help. My school mandated a psychologist for me because I kept complaining about suicidal thoughts, and when they told my parents, because they had to, hoo boy. Needless to say, I never spoke up about being depressed again. I have two. There is a parent who would walk through our closed campus every single day. As teachers, we're supposed to stop her because it's a closed campus. Every single day, she would pretend she didn't know the rules. We always knew it was the same parent because she let her younger children who weren't in school yet ride around on their scooters ahead of her. One day, she was walking through with a stroller. She was not paying attention and her freaking baby started falling out the front of the stroller. I saw 4 teachers jump up to help the kid and the mom didn't even acknowledge. The other one happened directly to me during parent-teacher conferences. I was meeting with a mom and her live-in boyfriend about her son. At the end of the conference, I asked if they had any questions I could answer for them, and he started asking me personal questions and flirting with me. I deflected and told them I had more conferences. But other teachers have told me that parents hit on them before, so it's probably pretty common. My mom's a teacher, and in order to talk to a parent about a child that was struggling due to the school environment, she arranged to meet at the parent's house. Keep in mind, this was scheduled in advance with a set time. The dad answered the door 100% naked and tried to have the meeting with him naked on the front porch. My mom doesn't do anything outside the school anymore. Not a teacher, but my dad once worked as a groundskeeper at a primary school. Worst thing he ever saw was a guy dropping his daughter off to school, and before she went through the gate, her dad went through her school bag and took out all of her packed food and left eating it, essentially leaving her with nothing to eat that day. Dad was so angry, he said he wanted to knock the guy out right then and there for leaving his child with no food for the day, but he ended up going straight to the principal to tell them what happened so that it could be investigated properly and to get the kid help. Mom slept with her daughter's adult boyfriend, kicks daughter out of house. Daughter goes to live with dad. Mom tries to say dad molested daughter. Real piece of work. Our vice principal is a former army sergeant who's built like a tank. He's well-liked and amazing role model in a community where many of our kids don't have a good male role model. On several occasions, I've seen mothers step well over the line and make very inappropriate comments to him directly in front of their kids. I mean in plain sight of their children and in ways the kids notice. He's always very respectful and often asks another staff member to join him if he sees one of these parents coming to talk, but it's pretty dang trashy when it comes to the sort of innuendo I've heard. These aren't jokes either. They try to get handsy with him too. I taught elementary school. I had a 3rd grader who was well behind all the other children in reading skills. He seemed capable of reading, but just never put forth any effort. So I would pull him aside every chance I got and tutor him. It was paying off. He was progressing nicely. Then his mother showed up one afternoon, mad as heck because the boy was learning to read. It took me a while to figure out what she was screaming about. It seems she was receiving disability payments because her boy was retarded and incapable of reading. If the caseworker found out the boy could read, the payments would stop. Luckily, she caused such a commotion that the assistant principal got involved and she was threatened with an arrest. But the poor little boy was scared whenever I tried to teach him. I despise people who try to directly profit at the expense of their children's future. It's a very evil kind of selfishness. Oh my god, I've worked in behavior units, juvies for a few years, so you can imagine the families we get. My faves. Took the kids out on the last day of term. Pull into the driveway and one of the kids' mothers is standing there, can of Monster in one hand, cigarette in the other, and wearing a miniskirt and knee-high boots in the middle of winter. One grandparent used to come in wearing a dirty singlet with his belly hanging out. Would try to kiss me and call me love, darling, and babe. A kid left grounds without permission, so didn't have his phone, etc., which we confiscate. Mom came to pick it up, and when the principal tried to engage her in a conversation about her son's behavior, she attacked him with her handbag. If you enjoyed this week's effective way to waste time, hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this. If you are enjoying the series, leave me a comment below. A special shout out to the content creators. You frickin' rock.